So in this experiential learning that you're giving people here, what is the role of challenge here? Because we want to make it comfortable, and a comfortable space, a safe space to try things out perhaps. But what's the role of challenge and challenging people to be better at what they do?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. I think so. It does start with creating the trust and showing that we're all human. We're all prone to these mistakes and not getting it right. So you create that foundation, a bit of humour, a bit of connection, a bit of warmth, all those kind of things, which I think is so important. But the challenge will be in the feedback that you give. So, in terms of the feedback, there will always be something the person is doing well or looking to do well, and there will be things we might be observing and picking up in the moment that might be getting in the way. And so I think it's the honesty, but couched in an evidence-based way in terms of giving feedback that makes sense, that is the key thing. And so I think what makes it challenging is that people have to try it out. Say, look, this is what I've spotted. I wonder if we could give it a go and you apply that particular skill and just see how it goes. So part of it is the preparedness of the person to put it into practice, sometimes in front of colleagues, sometimes one-to-one with us. So yeah, if they're up for it, they get a lot out of it.
Yeah, and there's no sort of sitting in the back seat. It's all sort of there in the front.
Yeah.
Doing it in that safe space, as you say, sometimes in front of colleagues, sometimes one-to-one work, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think one-to-one work is more and more. So we'll do many programs with groups, but when it comes often to the real intensive practice, we'll separate into smaller groups again, because I think it's really important people feel it's not too many eyes on you.
Yeah.
There's real benefits actually from doing it in a small group with colleagues, because you get their perspective, you get their feedback, so it's not just me giving feedback. One-to-one, it is just me giving feedback or one of my colleagues, but what we can do is make it very bespoke to that person, and we can stop and start and make it an intensive 1 hour, if you like.
Well, I was interested when you mentioned evidence, because obviously the research that you draw on in the work that you do is evidence-based. But is there also evidence from the participants' practice coming to bear? Are they bringing things to you, bringing problems or issues or skills that might not be quite working for them in the workplace?
Absolutely. So if it was working on, say, something like giving feedback or courageous conversations along those lines, what we would always ask is people to think before they're coming to a session, whether it's a group session or one-to-one, what is it I want to work on? What's the scenario that I could hang this on? What do I want as a result of this training or this conversation I want to practice? What might be getting in the way? What are the stories I'm telling myself, the assumptions I'm making that could be getting in the way of me having a more fruitful conversation with someone in my team? So they come well armed, if you like. We'll do some input and do some demos, but when it comes to the actual practice, I'm really crystal clear on what they want to work on. I'll ask them some supplementary questions, so let's just get really clear on what you want. And I think it's always important, if you're going to be practicing with people in a way that feels very real to them, they should be able to have some time out. There is a get out clause. Often there'll be people saying, I'd never say that. I don't know why I'm saying that. And you say, okay, well, let's rewind and start again. What would you say? Imagine I am that person. So it's quite intensive, it's about improvisation going on from my standpoint. I just think it seems to always be the thing that people remember.
Is them doing it themselves and going through it.
Because it
feels
feels
real.
real.
Some people are a bit allergic to role play.
Yeah, I know.
As soon as we mention that it's going to happen, it sort of puts a few shutters down
I know.
or up against it.